Crude fat by Soxhlet extraction. Place a round bottom flask in a cork ring on a balance. Place a few boiling chips in the flask and then record the weight of the flask and boiling chips together. In the fume cupboard, measure out 100 millilitres of petroleum ether in a measuring cylinder and transfer to the round bottom flask. Accurately weigh up 10 grams of potato chips on a watch glass. Record the exact weight of the potato chips and transfer to a ceramic mortar. Using the ceramic pestle, crush the chips until they resemble the size of breadcrumbs. Use a spoon to transfer the crushed chips to an extraction thimble. Once you've transferred over all of the crushed chips, plug the extraction thimble with some cotton wool. Place the thimble and contents into the central siphon portion of the Soxhlet apparatus. Push the thimble down to the bottom of the apparatus. You might need to use tweezers to help you do this. Rinse the mortar and pestle with some petroleum ether and transfer the rinsing to the central siphon portion. You might need to repeat this step until all remnants of the potato chips have been transferred. Assemble the remaining glassware for the fat extraction as demonstrated. There's a diagram in your practical manual to guide you with the setup. Once the apparatus has been set up, turn the water on, ensuring the water enters the condenser tube through the bottom outlet and exits through the top outlet. Turn on the heating mantle to full temperature until the petroleum ether boils. The petroleum ether in the central siphon portion will reflux. This needs to occur for approximately 1¼ hours to ensure all the fat from the chips has been extracted. You'll notice that the solvent in the sidearm will change from a colourless solution to a bright yellow colour and then back to a colourless solution. After the reflux process is complete, turn off the water and heating mantle and dismantle the apparatus. Using heat-proof gloves, remove the flask and the central siphon portion and place it onto the cork ring. Tilt the siphon to the side to dispense all of the petroleum ether from the sidearm into the round bottom flask. Return the flask to the heating mantle and connect the distillation apparatus as demonstrated. You might need to seek assistance from your demonstrator to set this part up. Once the apparatus is assembled, turn on the water to the condenser and then turn on the heating mantle. The solvent will begin to boil and be distilled out of the round bottom flask. Continue to do this until no more solvent is exiting from the condenser and into the collection beaker. Be careful not to over-extract the solvent, as this could result in burning the fat in the round bottom flask. You might need to ask a demonstrator to help you determine the point at which the distillation is complete. When all the solvent has been distilled, turn off the heating mantle and disassemble the distillation apparatus. Discard the distilled solvent into the organic residue bottle located in the fume cupboard. This is how the final fat residue should appear in the flask. Allow the flask to cool down before weighing. Place the cork ring on the balance and tare the weight of the ring. Place the flask onto the ring and record the weight of the residual fat extracted from the chips. To determine the amount of fat extracted, subtract the weight of the flask with the boiling chips from the combined weight of the flask with the boiling chips and extracted fat. Calculation of the percent of crude fat extracted from the chips can be determined by the following equation, where the weight of the fat extracted is divided by the weight of the chips used, then multiplied by 100. The percent recovery is calculated by dividing the percent of the crude fat extracted from the experiment by the total fat listed on the nutritional label on the packaging of the chips, and then multiplied by 100.